But let me just say to you that regardless of the outcome of this election, we would love to have you come by and see us here at Focus on the Family sometime. I know that this is an extremely stressful time for you, and we're not asking you to come now, but when the time permits, we'll roll out the red carpet for you here.
And I don't even need any kind of red carpet, but I would absolutely love to. And Dr. Dobson, Todd is sitting right next to me here in this vehicle before we get on an airplane. So Todd and I, too, after I speak with you, I'll share this conversation with him, and we'll be praying, too, for your ministry and for those pastors whom you had just mentioned also, that, collectively we can do all that we have within us to strengthen our country and to let Americans know that government has to be on their side. It's their government, and as we seek God's wisdom and His will in this election, we have to have faith that it's all going to be good at the end of the day there on November 4th as this country moves forward.
Well, express our love and appreciation to Todd. He's paying a price for this, too. And we have just gotten a call from your team there saying that we've got to wrap this up. And so I will honor that. Thank you for giving us the time on a very busy day. And I look forward to meeting you in person someday.
I look forward to meeting you. Give Shirley a big hug from me, and God bless you. Thanks.
Well, Tom, that was an enjoyable interchange. The governor is a very articulate lady, isn't she?
Well, she is, amazingly so. And not only that, she's very, very comfortable talking about her Christian faith. It's obvious that is the motivating force within her. And I think the left-wing media picks up on that, and that's why they dislike her so much. And, there was a especially touching moment in that interview when you reflected back at the Republican convention and how her daughter Piper had smoothed the hair of the baby Trig, and she expressed her acceptance of the pro-life position that all of that represents. And then she kind of turned it back on you. She said, you, Dr. Dobson, have led the way. Your reputation, your name has been on the chopping block for standing up for these very issues. And if you hadn't done it, the implication was that she and many others would not have come behind. So that's a real tribute to you.
Well, I hope that I can be as gracious in response to hatred as she has been, because, she has been hammered. I talked to H.B. London, who was in Alaska just a week ago, and he said they're just killing her in the press up there. Just such unfair things. The newspapers up there are very, very liberal, and most of them have just really been tearing into her, but she seems relatively unaffected by it, which is God's grace, I think.
Well, it is, and it's also God's gift of a thick skin, which you mentioned that she has.
I don't know if I have that. There are times when I do and times when I don't. So.
But just think about this. The media says she does not have the requisite experience, but she has more executive experience, and by that biography that you read, more executive experience than her running mate, Senator McCain, more executive experience than Senator Obama or Senator Biden, none of whom have run anything. But she's run a state, an important state, in the energy battle that we face today.
Well, that's a good point. Going back to what she said about little Trig, her Down syndrome baby, I thought she was very honest about that and saying it did scare her. It was difficult. It was hard for her when she found out about it, but there was never any question about the fact that they would welcome that baby into the world, and it's obvious now they've taken Trig into their hearts. I am pleased by that comment because, again, we're speaking on behalf of so many listeners out there who have a developmentally disabled child. I meant it when I said that I'm really very tender for those youngsters and for their parents. Some of them, of course, are not able to go out in public. Some of them will never be able to say a word. And anything we can do to put an arm around those folks, we want to do it. And Sarah did it today. Do you remember during the convention that she said to the parents of special needs children, you will have an advocate in the White House? And I think she will provide that. Well,
especially because a lot of people with developmentally challenged children have situations that may require some government help that cannot always be provided by church or the private sector.
Going back to the hatred that has been expressed by some in the media, not all of them, but many of them, that reminds me of the moment in George Bush's first campaign for president, and he was asked about the person that he most admired or had been influenced by, and he said Jesus Christ. Do you remember that moment?
We'll never forget that moment.
Yeah. That created hatred for him for months and months, and I think it's one of the reasons that they despise him so much today, because he had the courage to speak that name. It's the offense of the cross. And I think it's one of the reasons there is such hostility to Sarah Palin, because she is an unabashed Christian. That's who she is.
Well, indeed. And also the media expresses the belief that Christians are becoming tools of the Republican Party. There is a world of difference between the philosophies of the two major parties, never before more clear than in this election. So Christians need to participate, need to exercise their roles as citizens, and the differences could not be clearer this time around.
Our time is gone, Tom. It was a pleasure talking to Sarah Palin. Let's continue to be in prayer about this election, not in a political sense, but asking that God's will be done. We really don't know. Only God knows what He wants. We do know that there are principles here that we find in God's Word, but we're asking for His involvement, His intervention, not only in regard to the presidency and vice presidency, but for the amendments in California and Arizona and Florida, and for the House and the Senate, which will eventually be influential in all departments of government. This is a time to pray, and I will have to tell you, this is a time to vote. Right, Tom?
Absolutely. We see when social conservative people, Christian people turn out, we do a whole lot better than when they stay at home.
They can make the difference, regardless of the polls. Don't believe the polls. Turnout's going to make the difference. And as usual, it will be Christian conservatives who either do or don't make a difference in this election.
Well, what an exciting conversation this has been today, and a real pleasure to hear not just sound bites, but a real conversation with Governor Sarah Palin. If you'd like to request a CD of this broadcast to pass along to someone you know, or find detailed information about the candidates and ballot issues in your state, go to citizenlink.com. And if you enjoyed today's discussion, would you consider a gift to Focus on the Family Action? To give, just call us at 1-866-655-4545. While it is not tax deductible, your contributions go a long way towards helping us keep your family informed on issues that matter. Today's program was provided by Focus on the Family Action. Our host has been psychologist and author Dr. James Dobson, and I'm Chris Fabry, sitting in for John Fuller, and inviting you back next time when we'll hear one little girl's inspiring story of courage and once again turn our hearts toward home.